everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio, and today I'm sharing with you a sped up version of the live stream from 1/24/2019 where we were talking about collage. I am going to do some paper painting style collage on a MDF board that has gessoed canvas glued to it. It is in a heart shape. I made a drawing of a face. This is probably the hardest thing to paper paint. And as I was doing this on the show, I was pretty focused, and so there's not a lot of video to show, but I will do my best to explain how the process goes. So I had my sketch on this canvas covered board, and before I started the collage process, I wanted to make sure that I kept some of those shapes, face shapes, eye shapes, lip shapes, so that when they got obliterated by the collage, the first collage layer, I would still have something of those shapes left. So I used a piece of deli paper, which is a tough version of tissue paper, basically parchment paper. It's translucent, so I can trace through it, but also it's strong, and I can actually collage on it as well. So then I'm using some different neutral papers. I got out papers like pattern tissue and printed tissue and dictionary page and map page, all that type of stuff that has a very neutral color, kind of a, if you will, Caucasian skin tone color. Really, it's not white, but it's not any other color either. Kind of an off-white. So I have some handmade paper. I've got some newsprint that has some Chinese print on it. Just anything that I think has interesting pattern printed onto it. And I'm doing my first layer of collage, covering the entire thing with this. And the places where, some of the places where the face is, I used something I could see through, which happens to be the pattern, the sewing pattern tissue. It's see-through when you collage it on there, pretty much. Just changes the color. It sometimes has lines and things printed on it, so it does have a interesting pattern as well. But I also used a little bit of napkin, just different stuff that I had. And then once that layer was done, I set it aside to dry, and I started working on the focal image, which is the face and the hair. I started with the hair, and I have these little shapes that I've traced off of the image that I drew, and I'm using them as kind of patterns, starting with the hair. I decided that she would have big 80s hair and that it would be purple and pink because that's cool. So I cut the face shape out so that I would have that area in which to collage, and then started putting on some of this gel printed deli paper, which has purples and blacks on it. And I'm using Liquitex matte gel medium, which is my favorite collage glue. It's thick enough that it keeps things on there fairly quickly, and also not full of water, so the water doesn't absorb into the paper that I'm trying to collage on and make it wrinkly in most cases, with the exception of tissue paper and napkins, which I have to be very careful to push those down and push the wrinkles out, or just not care about the wrinkles. Most of the time I just don't care about the wrinkles. So this purple piece is the base of the hair, and then I will be adding some little strips that I've cut kind of in curls and swirls over the top of it to give movement to the hair. So that purple is just the background, and I'm still using my cutout face shape to make sure that I am not messing anything up. Although somehow she managed to get a really huge forehead, which bothered me the entire time. I got a little bit tired of her forehead. So I ended up putting some bangs on it, and I think I did that, a fringe or bangs or whatever you want to call it. I did that off camera, so you won't see me actually doing it, but it's the same process as this, cutting, just, taking some scissors and cutting little swirls or strips or curvy line pieces that look like hair strands to glue on over the top. Then I'm thinking about how the shape is going to fit on there. I'm filling in some of the bottom portion where her shoulder and neck are with some more collage tissue. That tissue paper right there is my favorite, and I wished I had more of it, but I just have a little piece left. It's some type of a printed tissue that came in some sort of a multi-pack, and I believe Peg sent it to me actually. So, and someone else might have sent me a piece of it too. Maybe Fran. I'm not sure, but yeah, I really like it. But I think it comes in a multi-pack, and I don't know where to get it. So, it's got interesting stuff printed on it. It's cool stuff. So I'm just continuing this process of thinking about the hair, thinking about the shapes. One of the pieces of hair, the strand, that needs to come down over that shoulder. So that's the reason that I put some tissue underneath so that I could get this one strand to come down over the shoulder. Then I went ahead and glued that down to the heart, lining it up with the drawing that was already on there. And then I started to collage the face. And what I'm using to collage the face mostly, I'm using some of that pattern tissue, but also this ad from, or article from, a magazine that has a lot of skin tone colors on it. But it has bright colors and it has darker colors. It has shading colors because nothing is ever a solid color. And I want to tear those different pieces out from different areas of that ad and add those little pieces into the shadows and highlights on the skin of the face. And this is the tricky part, especially because I decided to do something super, super tiny. I also have some shapes, you remember, that I drew on the deli paper, and for those I'm using them to cut out the eyes, the eyelids, the lips, and then I just kind of freehand cut some pieces to think about the nose and the shadows under and around the nose and the nostrils and around the flares of the nose. Shadows over the eyelids, shadows around the hairline, then of course the lighter skin tone on the nose. And I'm just, this is a very focused type of activity. I really need to think, I really need to focus, and probably not the best thing to do on a live show because I wasn't talking much. I wasn't explaining very much because I was so focused. And I still don't know how she got that high of a forehead. I'm sure that I had everything cut out in the right proportions, but that's just how it happens. And that's the reason that I eventually put some words on there that say she was perfectly imperfect, because you can see that what it is. It's a face, it's a collaged face, but it's not perfect by any means. And, you know, that's just how it goes. That's how it goes. So I'm just continuing this process. I used some African American type skin to do some really dark shading around the nose and under that area. That's probably the darkest that I used. The eyebrows are made out of the same purple paper that I put in the hair, as if she had bleached and dyed her eyebrows. Something I've thought of doing when I had completely purple hair, but if I had purple hair completely, then my eyebrows would look weird and I'd have to dye them. I just have a purple streak. Actually, it's a pink streak right now in my hair. So then once I was done with most of my collaging, I keep adding a few bits here and there. I decided to just go ahead and add the extra color to her cheeks and lips with a marker, and to do some shading around the hairline and under the chin with a marker. This is still a collage, but I think I can make it better and make it look a little bit more I don't know. It was so tiny, it was hard, very hard to do all those little tiny pieces of paper, especially during a live. So that was where the show stopped, and I wasn't finished with this piece completely. So the next day I worked on it a little bit more, and that's today, that's this morning when I published this video. Just adding a little bit more shading, touching up a few places with some black marker, giving a little bit more blue to her eyes, just by dotting on the marker, just dot dot in a couple places. Then I wanted it to have a finished look because I don't know, I might sell it or give it away. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. You know, these things are collecting up in my studio. I have piles of stuff that I'm not sure what I'm going to do with. Someday I'll figure it out. So I cut a piece of the, um, uh, what is that, music paper to fit around the back so that the areas where I had folded over a lot of the collage are covered because I just thought it would look better that way. And collaging that down. And there's one little area where the piece of paper wasn't quite large enough, so I just cut another little tiny piece of paper to fit over that area as well, just to cover up that back. It's MDF board. It's some type of pressed wood, so it's brown, and then it had all those pieces coming around from the front and lapping over to the back that I thought were kind of unattractive. So that was a finishing step. And then once that was done, I decided to sponge the edges a little bit. I'm using some permanent ink, archival ink from Ranger, and a sponge dauber to sponge around the edge and give it kind of like a finished frame or border around it. I just think it looks better that way. And I did that on both the front and the back and sponged a little bit on the sides so it looks more uniform around the edges. And then I decided to put the words on. I thought of the words and I didn't have a sticker that said that, so I made my own sticker using my Brother P-Touch label maker and trimmed those pieces down because they're just a little bit too wide for my taste. So I always trim them down, and then of course they're sticky. I also sponge those around the edges to make everything kind of more grungy and blend into the whole look of the thing with that same gray ink. Of course, I didn't get the pad back out. I just used what was left on my sponge dauber, which is about shredded. I need to throw it away. But then I stuck those on. They peel right down the middle. This new tape that I've got for my machine, it splits in the middle, so you can just kind of like fold it over and then peel one side, the other side, which is a lot easier to peel than the original tape I had that came with the machine. A lot easier. Added a little bit of pin marks just to make it look similar to the collage because I'd added some pin marks around on with that black Faber-Castell pit pin. And then I decided I would put a heart right below that just because the saying is kind of about self-love, treating yourself well. Even if you don't think that you are perfect, you are still perfect even though you're imperfect. And all those imperfections shouldn't matter because they make you unique. Of course, we all tell ourselves that and we try to believe it, but we still get down on ourselves sometimes, like I was doing when I made this because I was like, ugh, I don't like it. I don't like it. So then when I was drawing that, I made a discovery, which I think I already knew but forgot, that the tape inside my Brother P-Touch is heat sensitive. I think that's how it's printed. There must be some type of little heat inside there. I don't know how it works, but I think that's how the tape goes from white to having those black letters on it. So the heat tool made it turn black. I had to peel that piece off and redo it. So just something to keep in mind. And I'm going around the heart to give it a little bit of shade and grunge. I used Stabilo All graphite pencil for most of that, around the shading around, and then also, of course, the pit pins. So then the final thing I did was to add a little piece of black grosgrain ribbon for a tie or a hang, so you could hang this on the wall. And that finished it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please remember to give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment or question below. Subscribe if you haven't already. You can share this if you want to, if you think you know somebody who would like it or you'd like to pin it to Pinterest for later. And yeah, all those things help my channel and it's very appreciated. I'll also have the limited supply links below, as well as link to the live show if you'd like to watch it in real time. That's it for me. Bye-bye.